All right, good afternoon, everybody. We've got head coach Jeff Traylor here with us to talk about the 2024 UTSA football signing class. If you don't mind, use the raise hand function, and I'll call on you to ask questions of Jeff. JJ, you can get us started.
Jeff, how you doing today?
Great, JJ. How are you?
Not bad. Thanks for joining us. Just what was some of the challenges with putting together this class? You guys had 7 for a total of 22. So, just what were some of the challenges this cycle?
Um, I'm no different than normal. I mean, it's just recruiting. Um, it's actually easier in some aspects because used to after today that was your roster, and now the new current wave of college football. Every day is National Signing Day.
Okay, Greg.
Jeff, why was it that today in particular, it seemed like you guys put an emphasis on transfers for this portion of the cycle? What led to that sort of direction?
We've got the high school kids that were available at the time, and there's just not very many of them left that we thought could fix our roster quickly. And anything that we addressed over the break, something we knew our roster needed to be fixed like right now.
What does it say about the state of college football and the way recruiting works now that a school can have a February signing day and not bring in any high school kids, and it's not necessarily a red flag or any kind of problem?
Obviously, it's not the way I would want it to be, but nobody really cares what Jeff Traylor wants. It's the way of the new world. You adapt or you die, and it is what it is. So we only signed 10 high school kids. That's the least since we've been here. We're usually around 14. We thought there's a couple today we might could have signed, but for whatever reasons that didn't happen. So you readjust and move on. So I know my high school coaching buddies feel it because a lot of their guys, in their opinion, are getting left out, and I hate that for them.
Nate, we'll go to you.
Hey, Coach. Getting into specific guys, one of the more recent guys who signed on, Denver Harris. Just talk about first off how you were able to get him to commit to you at UTSA, especially I like seeing he had interest from large Power 5 schools, and then what do you see him bringing to the program? And also, too, lastly, is he a guy who's going to be immediately eligible, or since he's transferred twice, will he have to sit?
Oh, he's eligible immediately. Joe Price coached Denver at North Shore, so we had a relationship for a long time with Denver. We've recruited him before, and we missed out. But it's a situation we feel very confident about because of Joe's relationship with him and his family, and we're really excited to have Denver. And he's a kid that'll come in here and make us better immediately. We have a culture that's already established, our 2-1-0 triangle of toughness. We've got great leaders. He's already having a blast. He can't believe, what the atmosphere is like here and how good our kids are and how great the locker room is. And he's already really excited. And you can see he's got a smile back on his face and excited to be given another chance.
Is he a guy who you think can make an immediate impact, especially with Cam's transfer? Well,
the cornerback position's, very wide open when your top 3 that were on the board are all gone. There's room for people like Zay Frazier and Zach, Davin, Jacavian. There's opportunity for Denver. All of those guys have a real chance to play immediately because somebody's got to go out there and play. There's 2 of them, and we lost our top 3. So I'd say he's got as good a chance as anybody. We don't promise anybody anything, Ryan. You're promised an opportunity to come here and compete. Nobody's promised jerseys. We still do it the old-fashioned way, man. You got to come in here and earn it.
All right, Stephen, we'll go to you next.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good, Stephen. How are you, brother?
Pretty good. Just this being your fifth recruiting class here at UTSA, what have you learned over these last few years, and where do you think this class ranks compared to some of your previous ones?
Um, just how much more of a caliber of athlete we're available to speak to now that we weren't when we started. Um, Pretty much we can get in contact with anybody. Doesn't mean we're going to get them, but we're at least in the conversation. And maybe guys we didn't get the first time, they're falling back to us now. And that's the benefits of treating kids really good all those years ago. And we're really grateful because most of our kids we got were kids we didn't get the first time that are transfers. And we're excited about that. Still the same old thing, though. I know I'm not going to rank some class on what have they done. I mean, I know you're not supposed to say that. I'm the anti coach to speak to on National Signing Day. Talk to me in 4 years, brother, and I'll let you know how this class did for the high school kids, and we'll evaluate on how many wins they get. That's how you know, and it's the same thing. You got to be able to identify talent, which is an evaluation. You got to be able to recruit it. Most important part still coming, Stephen. That's development, spiritual, psychological, social, physical. There's a lot there to develop. And that's the part that I actually love the most is the developmental part and see what we can do with these young men.
Greg, back to you.
Jeff, what are the benefits of bringing in a guy who was highly recruited out of high school, maybe 4 or 5 stars, but it didn't work out at his first stop, and kind of giving him a second chance here at UTSA? What stands out about that type of player? You have a few of those in this class, it seems like.
The only reason I know they're 4 or 5 stars because y'all told me they were. I just look at the video and trust my eyes and trust their high school coaches, and it's always raw talent, speed, it's power. That's where you start in the evaluation piece. Then it's always transcripts and character and their high school coaches and their high school counselors and the janitor and anybody else that knows that human. Like, how much information can we get on them? So that's what I care more about. Do I pay attention? Of course I do, to a degree, because I know people want to know, and I've got to be able to speak on it when you ask me. And luckily, there's some nice enough guys on this screen who kind of give me a heads up about where we are ranked and what we're doing. So I'm not just totally blindsided when I get on here. But I jokingly said this. We only signed 22 kids. I mean, don't we get some kind of brownie points for retention? Shouldn't there be some kind of metric system for retention of roster? I mean, keeping Josh Cephas last year and him playing, I'd say that's a pretty good recruit, keeping that kid for all 4 years. Keeping Frank Harris for all those years, Rashad Wisdom all those years. There's still recruiting going on every day, man. And we're not going to sign 49 or 48 here ever, I hope, man. If we do, that means there's something's wrong there. So the quality of the recruit and, is what's most important to me. And JJ was nice enough to send that to me. And then some other guys, buddies of mine that keep up with all that stuff, have let me know we're the highest ranked G5 in the quality of the recruit. And I don't ever want the quantity to be crazy. And I was speaking to a booster a while ago that, mentioned that he's so sick of college football right now. And I said, no, let's be positive. Let's feed the positive dog right now. We only signed 22 kids. We signed a normal class. We didn't sign 49, 46, 45, 44. We didn't do that. And we're going on year 5. I think that's pretty remarkable of our staff and what we've done here.
JJ.
Jeff, it looks like you got pretty stacked on the offensive line there. Just you excited about the depth and with some of the guys coming in?
We really are. We just haven't felt we've ran the ball as well as I want to. And we ran it well, man, and most people be very proud of it. But we've got some road games next year that we're going to have to run the ball well. And last year we were 3-3 on the road, and I just think we've got to be better than that to get to where we want to get to. And we've got some good backs and we've got some good linemen, but we really added some, we think, some long, powerful, talented guys to complement a room that we feel like got better off of last year's recruiting class. Plus, we've got some young high school linemen that have developed going on year 3 that we feel good about. It's going to be a great competition to get in that 3 deep. And we've got a great tight end room, great running backs, and a good O-line room that needed to, we lost some good players that we had to replace.
Don, we'll go to you.
Hey, Jeff, you were talking about raw talent being one of the main factors for recruiting. It looks like with the transfers you got with the linebacker from Alabama and the offensive lineman that started at Texas and then went to Houston, Sparkman, and then DJ Allen, you got guys that can step on the field and play right away at a higher level perhaps than you've had before. Can you talk about how you got some of these guys like DJ and your relationship with him going back to high school and his speed, and if there's any of these guys that just really excite you from the jump?
Well, just because of the relationship I've had with him for so long. I was JJ's very first offer coming out of high school. I was at Arkansas at the time. We were so close to getting DJ the first time, and he chose TCU over us right there at the very end. We big P&G offensive lineman. We've known him and his high school coach forever. So the linebacker out of Marshall, Brevin, I've known him and his high school coach, for a long, long time. So we were able to reach some guys that Ian, from Alabama, when I was recruiting the state of Alabama, we have a guy on staff, and I knew a couple of guys down there that there's some high schools down there in Alabama that he came from one of them. They played really good football, great program. So, yeah, Don, we think those kids are, and because of the relationship, and a lot of times, and I'm not trying to put down those schools they came from, it's just so much pressure, so intense. We just do it a little bit different here. It's a breath of fresh air for those kids when they come in here. It's much more of a high school like atmosphere, as much as how we love each other, take care of each other. Those guys still are shocked. I call them and check on them on the phone. Like they really think they're in trouble every time I call them, and they're like, "I can't believe you're still checking on me." And I said, "You're new. You've been here 6 weeks. I mean, I just want to make sure you're doing okay." Ian came in and wanted to FaceTime his mom and just let him know it's the happiest he's ever been. And I'm not, nothing against any of those schools, but we just do it a little differently here, Don. And sometimes a fresh start, what does the old saying? Change of pace, change of place, change of perspective. I think that does well for a lot of these kids. And it's what the transfer portal was intended to be. These are the good things when guys get a second chance, if they go make the most of their second chance.
Are you concerned at all about any of them coming in with their past histories?
I think that's very important that you do your due diligence. We have a great track record of kids. I tease all the time. You've heard me say it a million times. I know y'all get tired of all my sayings, but I'm living proof that God can hit a straight lick with a crooked stick. Thank the Lord. Some of the silly things I did between the ages of 18 and 22 and 23, you guys don't know about it. I was just lucky enough to get away with it, right? And some of these guys that we've taken on, I don't even look at it like I'm taking a chance. I look at it like we're giving them a chance, right? And we're excited. And because of the culture of our locker room and how silly some of these mistakes these kids have made, I just think, and you didn't say taking a chance, but I'm just kind of answering your question the best I can, Don. I just see it as us giving them a real chance. And I've said this since day one. My job is to make men out of boys, and I've got a strong enough staff in the whole building here. We think we can save a lot of kids.
Thanks, Jeff.
Nate?
Coach, back to the quarterback room. You'd said last time we checked in with you that you wanted to bring in a quarterback for spring ball and add another veteran arm to that group. Are you still trying to do so by the start of next season? How did that process, play out for you? If how patient, I guess, you were, and then on top of that, what have you seen, if anything, from Eddie Lee and Owen since the last time we talked to you?
Well, we had 3 we thought we had, and we missed on all 3. And all 3, I told them the truth. Watch Eddie Lee and watch Owen. Watch their video. If you don't think you can beat either one of those kids out, then don't come here. If you think you can, then come here and try to beat them out. And I guess all 3 evaluated the 2 quarterbacks and said they weren't as good as those 2, and they all went somewhere else. So we would love to have somebody come in here and compete for the starting job, but a lot of guys out there waving the white flag that Owen and Eddie are better than them.
Greg?
Jeff, you touched on this a little bit, but with Denver Harris in specific, he dealt with some suspensions and some absences at his previous 2 stops. How did you sort of evaluate that off the field component with him, and how did that play into your decision to bring him in?
It's the relationship with Coach Price and the confidence I have in Nick Graham and what Nick has done with his corner since he's been here. It's also belief in our 2-0 triangle toughness, our culture, our brand. I've known Denver's high school coach forever. I know his current, high school coach. We just have a lot of relationships with that young man that we feel very confident about being able to get Denver in here and have a successful career.
Along the same lines with Brevin Randall, how much did you have to sort of investigate the circumstances around the situation with the UTEP offensive lineman that he had stepped on during that game? Where did that factor into your decision, and how do you have those same kind of assurances with him?
Again, his high school coach and I have known each other forever. It's a very emotional game. He's very frustrated. It's not much to investigate as far as the play. You can see it right there on TV. The investigation was, the other stuff, like what led to it, what kind of kid is he, and we feel really good about him. He's coming here and just been fantastic, working his tail off, and we're excited to have him here. He's from Marshall, Texas. He's from the 903, and it's where I was born. So I've known him for literally, I've known of him or about him forever. And that's why we made the decision to move on Brevin.
Steven?
Coach, now that you've got signing day kind of behind you, so to speak, what are you looking forward to with the spring ball coming up?
Molding all this together. We still got some places, like we're still short at corner. We've got to go address that. We'd like to go get another safety. We're a little short there. Is there a veteran quarterback out there we might could get? And then we got to always see how injuries play out here in the spring. We brought in a punter. We got to make sure we got that right. We took another Australian punter that we feel really good about. But just getting all that, we've had Lucas for 4 straight years, and that's been very comforting to all of us. So we got some stuff to work out. We got to get the quarterback deal situated. We'll probably play both of them early in the year, and but we got to get the one behind them established. Like, is that Jackson? Is that Brandon? Like, who is that? So we got a lot of stuff to work out. But we're gonna have a good football team. We're gonna be young in some spots, but we got a nice little mixture of veteran guys and new guys. It's gonna be it'll be entertaining for sure to see what we look like against Kennesaw game 1.
Greg?
Along those lines, Jeff, how many spots do you have to play with? Are there a certain number of scholarships available that you can go get guys through the next few months?
Yeah, we've got 3 that we could go get immediately. And, we got a couple of guys that have let us know that once they graduate this spring, that they're not in the 2 deep. They're probably going to look at getting the portal. So then you got maybe 4 or 5. It's like I said, every day is National Signing Day. You recruit year-round nowadays. It never stops, man, because your roster is just always so fluid. You've got to be thinking along those lines at all times.
Nate?
Coach, if you're at liberty to, share, if there are any, are there any PWOs in your group maybe for next year that are from the San Antonio area? I know you like to recruit the city.
Yeah, I'm not sure about all that as far as I can say names on all that. I'm sorry, I don't know the rule on that, Ryan. I just don't want to I don't want to make it where I can't get them in here because I said their name. Because I know I can't comment on other guys' names unless they're signed, and all those other guys I've commented on have been signed. So I'm sorry, I'm not abreast on that rule, but I do know we have some San Antonio guys coming, and maybe Kyle can find out their name or not. I don't think we can though.
You get, but it's just also too in terms of recruiting in your time at UTSA. How have you seen football and the talent level in San Antonio grow throughout your time at UTSA?
Oh, it's been great since we've been here. We just hadn't been able to get the real national kids. You know, those national ones have been tough for us to get, and there's a lot of great players here. But you know, they're going to the big time, but again, I hope our relationship with those guys, that maybe if it doesn't go so well at their place, they'll come back home to us and we can get them on down the road. But I like what we're doing here. We haven't lost too much. We've been able to maintain a semblance of what college football was supposed to be like. You know, we've been robbed, 3 times, and maybe robbed's way too strong of a word. I apologize for that in today's culture. We've lost 3 of our players. So you were losing that many back before all this stuff. It was just for other reasons. So I hope our fan base is still happy with how we're doing it. Because I don't like what's going on with college football. The massive turnover in a year that concerns me. Because what about what's happening with that kid and his degree? And when you've been the very best you've ever been your entire life, who's going to tell Brandon Tennyson he's not going to play quarterback in the National Football League? He's been the very best player his whole life, right? So, but they've got to get prepared that football, they're all going to stop playing football one day, all of them. And when football's over, what did this game do for you? If you didn't get a degree and you didn't meet a bunch of really, really good boosters that might hire you one day, and you didn't learn a lot about life, you did not use the game of football correctly. And I tell them all the time, they got to use the game before the game uses them. And that's my concern with college football. Is just, I'm happy everybody's getting their opportunity. But I hope they all get degrees.
Nate, I'll check on that for you on the preferred walk-ons and what we can say. JJ?
Jeff, do you have to kind of brace yourself for the portal window after the spring? Is that another kind of challenge of this calendar with the transfer portal that's kind of changed recruiting?
Could be. I mean, these kids we're all bragging about right here. Who knows? Somebody might got in touch with their agent. They might be gone. And guess what? I'll just check the portal and we'll go find some more kids, man. But that's a real possibility, JJ. We've been very blessed since we've been here. We haven't been picked too many times, but that's always a possibility. We work really hard at being as open as we can with our kids. We play a lot of players. We play a ton of football people here, so they all gonna get to play a lot. And our NIL is getting to the point where the kids can at least know they can get a car, maybe, and some insurance and a cell phone. And there's a lot of our guys staying for a lot cheaper than they could make, but somebody puts enough money out there. And I know the NCAA is trying to crack down on that. I'm not trying to be negative, but you know what's going on out there. Y'all are watching the same stuff I'm watching.
Don, you're next. Sam, you're in the hole.
Hey, Jeff, can you talk about the leaner, meaner Oscar Cardenas and his thought process about coming back? And I know it's a big day for him straight ahead with the Valentine's Day coming up.
Yeah, retention of roster. There's a 5-star, right? Sam needs to start. Sam's a big national guy now. He needs to start like some kind of retention grade and give grades for like Oscar Cardenas, 5-star returner for the UTSA Roadrunners, kept on the roster. The kid. This is a great story. Kid comes in, Coach, what do you think about my touches next year? I said, what do you mean, Oscar? He's like, you think I'm going to get, the ball a little bit more? What are you thinking on that, Coach? I'm like, Oscar, how many times did you got a ball this year? He said, I think I caught 10 or 12 balls, something like that. And I said, Oscar, you had like 32 to 35 balls. He's like, I did? He said, oh, I'm good then, coach. I'm good. I mean, the kid's just, he's such a great kid. Doesn't ask about money, just wants to know what he can do to help, and wanted to know what the scouts really said. And, you know, he didn't like them talking about him playing center or guard. And I said, well, Oscar, you're about to eat yourself right there. And he's like, well, then I'm going to uneat myself down to a tight end, and I'm going to be more disciplined. And he's already down 272. He's looking a lot leaner, a lot faster. So I talked to him yesterday in the locker room. I said, like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, it's really not that hard, coach. I'm like, I just eat 3 normal meals, and I snack in between of the meals, and I try to eat healthy. And I've maintained my power, and I'm faster now. I'm like, Oscar, that's called being 22. When you turn 55, just eating correctly is not going to work anymore. So he's on a mission, and I would never bet against Oscar Cardenas.
What do you think he was at his highest?
He wouldn't want me to tell you guys. He denied it anyway. It's north of 272 by quite a bit.
Do you think he's dropped like 25, 30 pounds?
For sure he's dropped 18, but he'll deny that.
It's all them home cooked meals with that girlfriend of his.
My man is in love. She's the one that deserves the credit. She's probably the reason we kept him.
All right, Sam, we'll go to you.
Hey, Jeff. Apologize for coming in late. I know you'd been asked about Denver Harris, but I was curious on the vetting process with him. How much did you guys lean on Joe Price, considering his connection to that school?
I would say that was huge. Obviously, you know, John Kay being his high school coach, and John and I being so close. John's now in the college world. You know, he's at Rice. That was big. And Mom, Dad, teammates. You know, we've got David Amador on our team. We've got Ty Leonard on our team. There's just a lot of people I can get in contact with to find out. And we're very confident. Just in the 6 weeks we've been around Denver, of just the strides he's already made. And we're excited. And I love helping kids. And my team likes that. And I said it before you got on here, Sam, that I'm living proof that the Lord can hit a straight lick with a crooked stick. And you guys have seen me. I'm a human. Y'all watched me make mistakes. I regret like crazy after the Army game saying there's got to be an easier way to make a living. You know, there's better things you can say. There's better choices you can make in moments. I'm disappointed that I wanted to snap Greg off in Tennessee. You know, I mean, you just make mistakes when you're a human. And I'm 55, and I've been doing this a long time. So we're very, I love the Lord, and the Lord's about grace. And the acronym for grace is God's redemption at Christ's expense. We want to be models of that. And but that doesn't mean we understand the responsibility we have, Sam. But we also believe in giving grace around here and loving up on some kids and holding them accountable, but love up on them a little bit.
On the staff front, I saw you guys had promoted Zach and Hunter. I know they were integral in your recruiting operation. Do you know kind of, I guess, how you guys are filling those spots in the recruiting staff? And also, do you expect to get some more resources for recruiting staff and personnel staff?
I do. Dr. Compost approved an on-campus recruiting coordinator today, as a matter of fact. And we're hiring, I don't know the exact title, but somebody that's going to specifically just evaluate talent and head up our recruiting. So those are 2 spots that she was gracious enough to allow me to add with a gift, from Harvey. And we're grateful for that. But, those 2 positions will be outside because we didn't have anybody currently on staff that we could move up. But you'd be shocked, Sam, if you came and looked at my rooms right now, my GAs, my quality controls, and my analysts, how deep we are with great coaches, because they know I'm going to move them up, and they don't leave. And we're stacked. I mean, I've got some great quality control GAs, assistant coaches in there, because we just keep moving guys up. I don't know what the number is, but it's staggering. Somebody showed it the other day of how many guys we promoted within here. And I'm so thrilled with where we are. It's the depth of our staff right now. And it just shows you that people are noticing and they want to be a part of this. And we'll have some more hires to announce here soon that we're excited about.
Why is that important to you, to promote from within? Because I know a lot of guys talk about it, but you seem to do it at a level that I don't see that many programs doing it. Why has that been so important to you these last few years?
Oh, you're not going to like it, because I don't cave into the media and I don't do what everybody tells me to do and hire the sexy sizzle guy that's maybe got all these titles, and he might look good because they had one good season, but they don't know about the 20 other seasons he had that were terrible. And I'd rather go with what I know. I've worked with these guys, and I've said this 1,000 times, and my coaches get tired of hearing it. You don't really know about a coach unless you've worked with him. You sure as hell don't know about him unless you've worked with him and you had your teeth kicked in together. When you've been through it and you had your teeth kicked in together, you learn about a man's character. And I know about my guy's character. We've been through the fire together for a long time. And Hunter and Zach have ridden with me for 4 years since I've been here, and they've done nothing but excel every time. Look at the success that Deke Haynes is having on the defensive line. He's somebody that was promoted from within. Look at the success Joe Price has at recruiting and developing receivers, promoted within. Look at the success Justin Burke has had, promoted from within. And I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. But that word travels, and those young guys, high school coaches from Texas, come get on my staff. They know I'm going to move them up one day. And we're deep on our staff, and I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach Traylor this afternoon? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate y'all very much. God bless. Birds up.
Thanks, Coach.